Have you ever held something in your hand that looked ordinary but was secretly worth a fortune? What if I told you that one small coin sitting in your pocket change could be the key to unlocking a hidden treasure, a piece of American history that collectors are fighting tooth and nail to own? Today on CoinX USA, we're peeling back the curtain on the most valuable Buffalo nickels and Washington quarters ever discovered. Coins so rare, so unbelievably precious, that their value could change your life overnight. These are not just coins, these are time machines. Each one tells a story of forgotten mints, vanished engravings, and century-old secrets buried deep within American soil. And tonight, we're going to uncover them all. Some of these coins were found in dusty attics, others inside old barns, basements, even inside forgotten jars that hadn't seen daylight for decades. But every single one of them hides a secret, a number that will leave your heart pounding when you hear it. So stay with me till the end, because somewhere in this countdown, there's one coin that could make you a believer that hidden treasure is still out there. Welcome to CoinX USA, where history turns into fortune and fortune turns into legend. Coin number 1. This is not just a coin. It's a survivor of time, a tiny metal warrior that has journeyed through over a century of American history. The 1917 Buffalo nickel, without a mint mark, one of the most mysterious and captivating coins ever struck by the U.S. Mint. It doesn't just carry value in silver or metal, it carries stories. Stories of the old American frontier, stories of trade, sweat, and legacy, stories etched into every curve of its design. Let's take a deep breath and step back in time. The year was 1917. The United States was standing on the edge of a changing world. World War I was raging overseas. The American spirit was transforming, and the Mint wanted to capture that rugged, powerful identity of the nation. So they turned to the sculptor James Earl Fraser, a man who saw America not through polished marble, but through the faces of its people, Native Americans, pioneers, and the wildlife that once ruled the plains. Fraser created something that had never been seen before, a coin that looked alive. On the front, a proud Native American profile, strong, dignified, immortalized forever in nickel. And on the back, an American buffalo, massive and fearless, standing as the symbol of endurance. But here's where it gets fascinating. The 1917 issue, especially the one without a mint mark, wasn't just another coin. It came out of the Philadelphia Mint, which often didn't stamp its mark. That tiny absence, that missing little letter, is what turned this coin into a legend. Now, if you ever get your hands on one, look closely. You'll see the raised design, so intricate that even the tiniest touch of circulation could wear down the details. The Native American's cheekbones, the feathers in his headdress, the buffalo's thick fur, they were all slightly elevated, making the coin vulnerable to wear, but also giving it a raw, authentic texture that no modern coin can replicate. The 1917 version is also known for its sharp strike, the early mintage before the dyes began to wear out. That crispness makes it even rarer, especially when found in fine or uncirculated condition. But here's the kicker: no two 1917 Buffalo nickels look exactly the same. Over time, oxidation, environmental conditions, and natural patina create completely unique surface tones. That means every surviving piece tells a one-of-a-kind story, a visual fingerprint of its century-long journey. Now imagine this. Out of millions of nickels minted in the early 1900s, only a tiny fraction of 1917 without the mint mark have survived in strong collectible condition today. And when we say rare, we're not talking about uncommon. We're talking about nearly extinct in top quality. Collectors crave this coin because it represents the purest essence of American numismatic heritage, bold design, historical importance, and an unpredictable scarcity. You might find one in worn condition, its details softened by time, but even then, the emotional power of holding it is undeniable. Each scratch is history. Each faded detail is a fingerprint of the past. And right now, the demand is exploding. Auctions are seeing fierce battles, and prices that were once unthinkable have become reality. So what is the true worth of this hidden treasure? Hold your breath, because this number will make your heart skip. A 1917 Buffalo nickel without mint mark, in circulated condition, has recently stunned the collector's world, climbing to a jaw-dropping $194,000 in the open market. Yes, you heard that right. $194,000 for a 5-cent coin. And here's the truth. This isn't hype. The market value of this coin is climbing day by day. The collector world has gone wild for pieces like this, and it is not showing signs of slowing down. If you ever find one, don't think of it as pocket change. Think of it as holding a treasure chest in your hand. This coin isn't just money, it's a key to a forgotten fortune, a symbol of America's spirit preserved in metal. Don't take this as fiction. This is the real deal, a piece of history that could rewrite your definition of value. Now, if you are a collector or even a beginner stepping into this fascinating world, here is my advice. When you look for a 1917 Buffalo nickel, pay attention to the small things, the clarity of the buffalo's horn, the sharpness of the feather details, and the evenness of the rim. Avoid heavily polished or cleaned coins. Originality matters. Collectors pay a premium for untouched beauty. And here's a secret few talk about: toning. That soft rainbow hue or smoky gray patina, that is nature's signature of authenticity. It often boosts the desirability far more than artificial shine ever could. Store your coins carefully, because even a fingerprint can alter its grade, and with that, its market price. So what makes the 1917 Buffalo nickel so legendary? It's not just about its rarity. It's about what it represents: the courage of a nation, the artistry of an era, and the magic of discovery. Somewhere, maybe in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or inside your grandfather's coin box, a treasure like this might still be waiting silently, patiently for someone to recognize it. And when that moment comes, you won't just be finding a coin, you'll be uncovering a piece of American soul. Remember, here on CoinX USA, we uncover these treasures every single day. Fresh updates, real stories, and the truth behind the coins that changed lives. Because every coin has a story, and some stories are worth more than gold. CoinX. Number 2. What if I told you the year 1936 marked the final heartbeat of an American legend? The moment when a symbol of freedom, artistry, and raw frontier power was struck one last time before fading forever into history. This is the 1936 Buffalo nickel with the D mint mark. A coin that didn't just end an era, it defined it. The Great Depression still lingered. The world was changing fast, and the American people were fighting to rebuild hope and stability. Amid all that, the Denver Mint quietly struck one of the final chapters of the Buffalo nickel story, a design that had captured the heart of a nation since 1913. Created by the same genius sculptor, James Earl Fraser, the Buffalo nickel had become far more than a 5-cent coin. It was a symbol, the living spirit of America itself. On the obverse, the noble Native American chief, whose profile was inspired by 3 real-life warriors: Irontail, Two Moons, and John Bigtree. Their features were combined into one powerful image, proud, fierce, and eternal. On the reverse, the mighty American bison, standing tall on a rocky mound, a tribute to the strength and perseverance that defined a nation rising from the wilderness. But by 1936, whispers were spreading. The mint was planning to retire the buffalo design. Its dyes wore out too quickly. The raised features made minting expensive, and America was stepping into a new, modern look for its coinage. And that's where the 1936 D Buffalo nickel was born, one of the final, pure, untamed breaths of the wild American spirit before the torch passed to the Jefferson nickel in 1938. Now, take a look at the D right beneath the word 5 cents. That small letter represents Denver, and yet that little mark has transformed this piece into something collectors chase with burning obsession. The Denver Mint had lower production runs than Philadelphia, and minor variations in die pressure and striking details made each 1936 D a little different. Many of these coins display stronger detail in the buffalo's horn, more visible fur texture, and richer relief in the Native American's face. Subtle but powerful differences that serious numismatists know how to spot instantly. The artistry of Fraser's design reached one of its finest expressions in 1936. The minting was crisp, the metal composition rich with nickel and copper that developed a natural warmth over time. If you find one today, even with faint wear, you will feel the weight of its history the moment it touches your palm. Each curve, each faded ridge is a century of stories pressed into metal. So why has this particular buffalo nickel captured such a fever among collectors? Because 1936 marked the twilight of the entire series. It's the second-to-last full mintage before the end, and Denver's production was far smaller than Philadelphia's. Only a limited number were struck, and even fewer survived in fine condition. The ones that did often suffered heavy circulation, their proud buffaloes worn smooth, their chief's features softened by time and trade. But when a well-preserved 1936 D appears, collectors recognize it instantly as a relic of transformation, a bridge between the old America of horses and plains and the new America of machines and cities. And here's what's shocking. The collector demand isn't just high, it's explosive. Auctions are heating up with bidding wars as investors realize these coins are not just history, they are an asset class all their own. All right, let's talk about what you're dying to know. What is the real-world value of this remarkable treasure? A 1936 Buffalo nickel with the D mint mark, in fine condition, has recently reached an astonishing $168,000 in today's market. Yes, that's $168,000. Not a legend, not a rumor, a verified reality in the world of high-end numismatics. And that value, it's climbing. Every month, collectors and investors are driving prices higher as pristine examples vanish into private collections. This coin is no longer just a piece of currency. It's a gateway to wealth, a key to American heritage, a masterpiece of metal that refuses to lose its magic. Don't take it as fantasy. This is truth, backed by auction houses and expert collectors who know the power of history when it meets rarity. This buffalo still roars even after nearly 90 years. If you're lucky enough to come across a buffalo nickel from 1936, pay close attention to that mint mark. The Denver D should be clear, neatly centered, and unaltered. Look for strong details on the bison's horn and tail that's often the first area to fade in weaker strikes. Avoid polished or cleaned examples. The natural luster and tone are everything. Collectors love that honest patina, the kind of glow that whispers authenticity instead of screaming shine. And if you find one with sharp detail and smooth fields, protect it. Store it properly, because that small coin in your palm might just be your invitation into the collector elite, the circle of those who hold America's forgotten treasures. The 1936 D Buffalo nickel isn't just another coin, it's the final roar of a legend. It stands as a farewell to an era when art met metal, and metal told the story of a nation's identity. To hold one is to feel the pulse of history itself, from the roaring plains to the forges of Denver. And here's the truth, my friends. Treasures like these are still out there, sitting silently in jars hidden in family drawers, waiting for someone who knows what they are truly worth. So keep your eyes open, your heart curious, and your mind ready, because the next great discovery might be resting right in your hand. And remember, CoinX USA is where these hidden fortunes come to light every single day. Subscribe, stay tuned, and join the hunt, because we're just getting started. Coin number 3. Sometimes the rarest treasures aren't the ones that sparkle the brightest. Sometimes they're the quiet ones, the coins that traveled across dusty hands, across generations, carrying stories the world almost forgot. This is one of them. The 1927 Buffalo nickel without a mint mark, a mysterious coin from the heart of American history, born in Philadelphia, but destined to vanish into legend. The year was 1927, the jazz age in full swing, radios humming, Model Ts rumbling down the streets, and a new American confidence filling the air. Yet even in that golden glow of progress, the Buffalo nickel stood as a tribute to something older, something primal, the rugged, untamed spirit of the early American frontier. Created by master sculptor James Earl Fraser, the Buffalo nickel was never just about currency. It was about identity. On one side, the strong, proud Native American warrior, a composite of 3 real-life chiefs Fraser admired deeply. On the other, the massive buffalo inspired by Black Diamond, a real bison that once lived in the Central Park Zoo in New York. By 1927, this design had already become iconic. But there was a catch: the dies were wearing down. The bold, high-relief details that made the coin beautiful also made it fragile to strike. And as the years passed, subtle changes in the minting process created tiny variations, the kind that drive collectors wild today. And the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the no-mint mark version, was at the center of it all. No small d, no s, no trace, just raw, pure American craftsmanship, unmarked and unforgettable. Now let's look closely at this masterpiece, because this is where the magic lies. The 1927 Buffalo nickel without mint mark is instantly recognizable by its smooth, strong design lines and slightly lighter metal tone compared to other years. The composition, 75% copper and 25% nickel, gives it that resilient yet elegant feel, the perfect blend of strength and style. Run your thumb across its surface and you will feel history itself, the raised profile of the Native American, the coarse texture of the buffalo's fur, and those faint letters of E pluribus unum at the top that still whisper pride after nearly a century. In circulated condition, every scratch tells a story. Each mark is proof of survival, of hands it passed through, of pockets it rested in, of times long gone, but never forgotten. And yet, despite its age and wear, this coin retains an undeniable beauty, a kind of quiet power that draws collectors like moths to flame. Now here's where things get interesting. Among all the Buffalo nickels produced in the 1920s, the 1927 no mint mark issue stands apart not for an error, not for a misprint, but for its scarcity in high grade. Philadelphia minted a large batch, yes, but so many were lost, worn, or melted down during the decades that followed that surviving examples with readable details are incredibly rare. Most of these coins were heavily circulated, spending their lives in trade, travel, and toil. But the few that made it, those preserved by luck or love, are now among the most sought-after nickels in American history. Collectors hunt them relentlessly. Auction houses whisper about them. Even casual coin enthusiasts dream of finding one because every 1927 no-mint mark is a silent story of survival. And as demand for buffalo nickels continues to surge across the United States, this specific coin, the unmarked Philadelphia Strike, is becoming the star of the show. Now, let's talk about what makes everyone's pulse race: its true value. Recently, a 1927 buffalo nickel without a mint mark, in circulated condition, stunned the collecting world when it sold for an incredible $178,000. Yes, $178,000 for a single nickel that once passed through ordinary hands. It's not fiction, it's fact, a reality that proves how the smallest piece of history can turn into a life-changing treasure. And here's the wild part: this coin's value is still climbing. Every year more collectors enter the market, chasing fewer available specimens. The demand is exploding, and the prices are reflecting it. You don't just own a coin like this, you own a piece of America's untouchable past. It's like holding lightning in your hand, sealed in nickel. Remember, markets go up and down, but true rarity, true history, never loses value. This is not small money. This is treasure money. If you ever come across a 1927 buffalo nickel, here's how to know what you found. First, look at the back, under 5 cents. If there is no mint mark at all, you are holding the Philadelphia issue, the one we are talking about right now. Next, check the detail of the buffalo's horn and tail. In worn examples, these features fade first, but even a faint outline can mean you've got something special. And the key: never clean it. Don't polish, don't scrub, don't shine. Cleaning a coin like this erases decades of natural patina that collectors crave. That soft, aged tone is part of its soul. Protect it, store it safely, and if you are not sure about its grade, get it professionally appraised. Because with values like this, a single detail can mean the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. The 1927 buffalo nickel without a mint mark isn't just a coin. It's a story of American grit, of artistry, endurance, and the quiet persistence of something truly timeless. From the roaring 20s to today's high-stakes auctions, this little piece of metal has journeyed through history, surviving wars, recessions, and the hands of millions, only to emerge as one of the most powerful symbols of hidden fortune in numismatic history. Somewhere out there, in a jar, in a drawer, maybe in your family's old keepsakes, a 1927 buffalo nickel might still be waiting, just waiting for someone who knows what it truly is. And that someone might just be you. Because here on CoinX USA, we don't just talk about coins, we uncover the secrets that turn small discoveries into massive fortunes. Stay with us. The next coin could be the key to your hidden treasure. CoIN number 4. In 1921, America was recovering from a storm of change. The Great War was over. The country was finding its voice again. And from the heart of Philadelphia, a silent treasure was born. A treasure that almost never existed. This is the 1921 buffalo nickel without a mint mark. A coin forged in a moment of transition, pressed into history when the U.S. Mint was producing fewer nickels than ever before. And today, this tiny piece of metal stands as one of the most mysterious and valuable buffalo nickels in existence. The early 1920s were unlike any other time in American history. Factories were changing gears from war production to peace. Money was tight, and the mint had cut back its nickel output to focus on silver and gold coinage. So when the buffalo nickel was struck in 1921, it wasn't just another year's issue, it was a limited run during a period of economic uncertainty. The design came, of course, from the brilliant James Earl Fraser, a man who saw America's soul not in cities or machines, but in the faces of its people and the power of its land. The Native American chief on the obverse and the mighty bison on the reverse had already become national icons. But in 1921, production issues and metal shortages meant that Philadelphia was the only mint to strike them, and it did so without adding its mark. That absence, no D, no S, turned this coin into a legend that collectors would chase for the next century. Look closely at a 1921 Buffalo nickel, and you'll see a different texture than earlier years, a slightly flatter strike, the result of worn dies and hurried production. That imperfection is precisely what makes it special. The profile of the Native American appears softened, almost ghost-like, and the buffalo on the reverse stands with a weathered nobility that feels alive. Composition-wise, it's the same classic blend, 75% copper, 25% nickel, but time has given these coins a deep, smoky patina collectors adore. Every coin has its own tone, amber, charcoal, gunmetal, blue. Each one is as unique as a fingerprint. And when you hold it, you'll feel a century of travel in your hand, as if you're touching the heartbeat of 1921 itself. Now here's where the story takes a turn toward mystery. Records show only a handful of the 1921 Philadelphia issues were released before the minting stopped altogether in 1922. That means fewer survivors and fewer chances to ever see one again. Most were spent and worn beyond recognition. So when a circulated example appears with its details still visible, collectors move fast. The auction rooms get quiet. Hands start to shake because everyone knows what it means. A ghost from a year the mint almost forgot. And now, with the Buffalo series becoming a centerpiece for serious American collections, the 1921 issue is exploding in demand. So what is the true power of this coin? Recent auction records and private sales have shown the 1921 Buffalo nickel without mint mark in circulated condition, commanding prices up to $185,500. That's right, a 5-cent coin from a century ago now valued like a small fortune. And its momentum is only growing. Collectors across the United States are locking down their best examples as long-term investments, knowing that true rarity has no expiration date. It's not just money, it's heritage, compressed into nickel and copper, a treasure with a heartbeat. If you ever come across a Buffalo nickel dated 1921, turn it over immediately. Look under 5 cents. If there's no mint mark, you may be holding a Philadelphia strike and potentially a 6-figure gem. Check the bison's horn and the Native American's braid. Even in worn coins, if those details are visible, the value rises dramatically. Never attempt to clean it. The dark, natural toning is part of its charm and proof of authentic age. Collectors prefer that aged glow, a look that can't be faked. And if you believe you have found one, have it authenticated by a reputable grading service, because documentation can multiply its worth overnight. The 1921 Buffalo nickel without mint mark is more than a coin. It's a whisper from a time when America was reinventing itself. Forged in a year of scarcity, forgotten by many, and rediscovered by a few, it has become a symbol of endurance and hidden wealth. To find one is to touch the pulse of history, to feel the weight of a century resting quietly in your palm. Because sometimes the loudest treasures are the ones that never made a sound. And here on CoinX USA, we bring those silent legends back to life every day, with fresh discoveries and new truths from America's hidden wealth. Coin number 5. In 1925, America was roaring forward, jazz clubs, Model Ts, and the birth of radio. Yet hidden within that era of energy and optimism was a quiet creation, a 5-cent coin. that would outlive the decade and echo through history. This is the 1925 Buffalo nickel without a mint mark, a piece of metal that carries the pulse of a changing nation and a secret value that could stop your heart. By the mid-1920s, the Buffalo nickel had already become an icon of American artistry. Sculptor James Earl Fraser's design, the proud Native American on one side, the untamed buffalo on the other, represented the meeting of nature, strength, and national pride. But 1925 was different. The mint was adjusting its techniques, production slowed in some mints, and Philadelphia carried the main load, issuing coins without a mint mark. Those Philadelphia strikes were known for their clarity, but few could have imagined how precious they would become a century later. Each one emerged from the press at a time when America was on the edge of transformation, before the crash, before the Great Depression, before history turned dark. These nickels became small witnesses to that fragile, glittering moment in time. Look closely at the 1925 Buffalo nickel, and you'll see subtle differences that set it apart. The metal itself, 75% copper, 25% nickel, developed a deeper tone over the decades, a natural patina that glows with smoky gray and bronze shades. The Native American's profile on the obverse is bold, his braids sharply defined, while the buffalo on the reverse stands heavier, more muscular than in many earlier years. The artistry feels alive, rough, real, and unpolished, just like America itself in the 20s. But here's where collectors lean in. Small variations in the die, strikes created tiny shifts in the lettering and the buffalo's mound. Those micro details are what turn a simple coin into a coveted treasure. Every scratch, every soft curve of wear tells a story. Each coin is a time capsule, a fragment of American spirit that no modern mint could ever replicate. Now, let's talk about why the 1925 no-mint mark Buffalo nickel drives collectors wild. Philadelphia struck millions that year, yes, but few survived in fine condition. The buffalo's high relief design meant it wore down fast. The coin's raised elements, the cheekbones, the feathers, the buffalo's horn, rubbed smooth through ordinary circulation. Decades later, the number of coins retaining detail is startlingly small. That scarcity has transformed them into crown jewels for Buffalo nickel collections. And the demand? It is intense. Across the United States, collectors compete fiercely for clean strikes, beautiful patina, and solid grading. Online auctions, estate sales, private dealers, the hunt never stops. The 1925 no mint mark issue is now a star performer, with excitement building year after year. So what happens when one of these silent survivors appears at auction? The room goes quiet. The bids rise fast. Recent sales have seen 1,925 Buffalo nickels without mint mark in fine condition reach as high as about $178,500. That's a staggering leap from 5 cents to fortune proof that true rarity never loses its shine. And market analysts agree the trajectory is upward. As more coins vanish into permanent collections, the remaining few grow exponentially more desirable. These are not trinkets. These are artifacts of endurance, and their worth only deepens with time. Think of it not as owning a coin, but as owning a living fragment of American legacy, a tangible echo of a country finding its identity. If you ever stumble upon a 1925 Buffalo nickel, remember subtle details make the difference. Turn it over. If there's no mint mark beneath 5 cents, you're looking at the Philadelphia issue, the treasure we're talking about tonight. Check the horn, the tail, and the lettering. Clear, crisp elements mean higher grade and higher value. Avoid any coin that looks buffed or overly shiny. Natural toning is gold in the eyes of collectors. Store it in a protective case, handle it with care, and never clean it. That untouched surface is part of its proof of authenticity. And if you suspect you have found something truly special, send it for professional grading. Certification transforms a discovery into an investment. The 1925 Buffalo nickel without mint mark is more than metal. It's memory. A reminder that history's greatest treasures don't always glitter in gold. Sometimes they hide in nickel, worn smooth by time and touch. This coin survived the rush of the 20s, the crash of the 30s, and 100 years of change, only to emerge today as a relic of pride, artistry, and unstoppable value. So keep your eyes open, because somewhere out there, one of these silent treasures might be waiting for you, resting in an attic, a jar, or an old pocket you have never checked. Here on CoinX USA, we reveal the legends that time tried to forget, freshly, powerfully, every single day. Coin number 6. Sometimes the rarest treasures aren't from ancient times. They're hiding right under our noses. And one of those ghosts of modern history is the 1966 Washington quarter without a mint mark. A coin born in a year of transformation, secrecy, and survival. 1966, America was in motion. The space race was roaring, rock and roll was exploding, and a silent storm was brewing at the United States. Mint. Just a year earlier, in 1965, silver disappeared from U.S. coins. Prices were skyrocketing, and Americans were hoarding every quarter and dime they could find. The mint responded by changing everything, removing silver entirely and striking quarters from a new copper-nickel-clad composition. But to stop the panic and hoarding, the mint did something radical. It removed mint marks from all coins struck in 1965, 1966, and 1967. No D, no S, no P, just clean, blank metal. To collectors, that decision created a mystery. Where were these coins made? How many survived in good condition? And which of them, decades later, would rise to legendary status? The 1966 quarter was one of them, a product of chaos and a survivor of secrecy. At first glance, it's familiar. George Washington's proud profile on the obverse, the American eagle on the reverse. But look closer. The copper core shows faintly on the edges, sandwiched between the nickel layers, a hallmark of the new composition. The strike is sharp, almost experimental. The surface is bright with a satiny luster unique to this transitional era. On some examples, faint dye doubling can be seen on Liberty or In God We Trust, a whisper of imperfection that transforms an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Each one carries the signature of a nation learning to adapt, minted without pride of place, but loaded with unintended rarity. Here's where the mystery deepens. Millions were made, yet, among them, only a small fraction emerged from circulation with details sharp enough to impress modern grading experts. Most 1966 quarters were used, lost, or scarred in the change jar of history. Fine condition examples? They are like needles in a haystack. The absence of a mint mark means tracing their origin is nearly impossible, adding an extra layer of intrigue. Collectors crave that. They chase the thrill of the unknown, that sense of holding something that slipped through history's cracks. And when one surfaces with crisp detail, natural tone, and smooth edges, the bidding wars begin. When a pristine 1966 no-mint mark quarter hits the auction block, the energy in the room shifts. What once bought a few gallons of gas now commands a fortune. Recent auction reports have shown exceptional fine-grade examples of this coin reaching as much as $134,000. Yes, from pocket change to powerhouse, and experts believe that's just the beginning. As more collectors realize how few high-grade 1966 quarters survive, prices continue to climb. This is not a trend. It's a revelation, a living signal that modern rarities can stand shoulder to shoulder with century-old legends. If you are sifting through change or family keepsakes, keep your eyes wide open. Look for a 1966 quarter with no mint mark. That blank space is the key. Inspect the edges. A strong, even copper ring signals authenticity. Search for sharp detail on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. The cleaner they are, the higher the grade. And never polish or clean it. Natural luster and original surfaces are sacred to collectors. Submit any promising find for professional grading. Certification transforms mystery into measurable worth. The 1966 Washington quarter without a mint mark isn't just a coin. It's a survivor of secrecy, a metallic witness to one of America's most daring monetary experiments. It tells the story of change, innovation, and unintended rarity, and for those lucky enough to hold one, it whispers a single message. Treasure can still be hiding in plain sight. So keep looking, keep searching, and remember, every coin has a story. Some stories are worth fortunes. Stay tuned, because here on CoinX USA, we uncover those stories, fresh, powerful, and true every single day. Coin number 7. There are moments when an ordinary object suddenly becomes a symbol of mystery, a clue to hidden fortune. And tonight, we dive into one such marvel, the 1972 with D Washington quarter. A coin born from routine production that somehow became a legend, whispered among collectors across America. 1972, an age of change and challenge. The Vietnam era was ending. Technology was accelerating, and the Denver Mint was operating at full capacity, striking millions of Washington quarters for a nation on the move. But within that flood of coins, the Denver Mint produced something unexpected. Tiny die variations, minor planche shifts, and subtle differences in pressure created small anomalies, quirks invisible to the public but magnetic to numismatists. The Washington quarter had already been circulating for 40 years, yet the 1972 with D stood apart. A transitional piece carrying both the old spirit of silver-era artistry and the modern, industrial precision of copper-nickel composition. It was the last gasp of an age when minting still had personality and imperfection meant potential gold for collectors. Look closely at a 1972 with D quarter, and you'll see why experts call it one of the most intriguing coins of its decade. The obverse bears Washington's bold profile, but the Denver strikes often show deeper rim definition and an almost satin sheen. On some, faint die doubling can be seen in the motto "In God We Trust" or along the eagle's wing tips on the reverse. That tiny D mint mark below Washington's neck is the signature, small, subtle, but vital. It tells us this piece came from the Rocky Mountain Mint, where heat, speed, and precision sometimes created micro-variations that decades later became numismatic legend. Each 1972 with D has its own fingerprint, no two exactly alike, a truth that makes this issue endlessly fascinating to collectors hunting perfection within imperfection. Now here's where curiosity turns into fire. Tens of millions of quarters rolled off Denver's presses that year, yet coins that remain in fine condition, untouched, unscarred, with strong detail, are shockingly scarce. Why? Because most went straight into everyday use. Payphones, vending machines, laundromats, the grind of circulation wore them down fast. Finding one today, with full design definition and original luster, feels like unearthing a relic of hidden history. And collectors know it. Online forums buzz, Auction houses watch closely, and every time a gem-grade 1972 with D surfaces, the excitement reignites. Demand is rising. This modern-era rarity has earned a permanent place on every serious collector's radar. So what happens when one of these elusive 1972 with D quarters, fine, crisp, shimmering, appears at auction? The bidding room shifts from calm to electric. Recent records show that superbly preserved examples have fetched as much as $125,000 in competitive bidding. $0.25 reborn as a six-figure treasure. That figure isn't fantasy. It's history repeating itself, proof that even coins from the modern era can become objects of immense value when scarcity, story, and condition collide. And analysts believe its curve is still upward. With each passing year, uncirculated survivors vanish into private vaults, and prices inch higher. If you are searching, remember these essentials. Look for the small D mint mark on the obverse that's Denver's calling card. Examine the strike strength on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Softness or doubling can hint at valuable dye varieties. Natural tone and subtle rainbow luster often indicate originality, never clean or polish. Protect every find in a plastic holder or coin flip. Fingerprints can erase thousands in value. And when in doubt, send it for grading. Certification transforms curiosity into confirmed worth, a key to serious collector markets. The 1972 with D Washington quarter is living proof that treasure doesn't always glitter in gold. Sometimes it jingles softly in your pocket, waiting decades for someone to notice its story. It was minted in an age of change, forgotten in the rush of everyday life, and reborn today as one of America's modern-era marvels. So next time you handle spare change, pause for a second, because hidden among the ordinary might be your own piece of history, your own fortune in miniature. And remember, here on CoinX USA, we bring these secrets to light every single day, fresh, powerful, and true. Coin number 8. Sometimes the rarest treasures aren't born in the ancient past, they're hiding in plain sight. This is one of those moments. The 1986 with D Washington quarter, a coin minted for ordinary circulation that somehow became an extraordinary enigma. A coin from the age of computers, satellites, and neon lights, yet holding the soul of America's earliest money. 1986, the world was racing into the digital future. The Denver Mint was busier than ever, striking millions of Washington quarters in the copper-nickel-clad formula that had replaced silver 2 decades earlier. By every official record, this was a routine year. But collectors later discovered something astonishing: subtle mechanical quirks in the dies, inconsistent pressure during striking, and small production anomalies that quietly created a handful of quarters unlike any other. The D mint mark under Washington's bust tells us these coins were born in Denver, a city where precision met speed, and where even the smallest deviation could create a rarity that would echo for decades. At first glance, the 1986 with D looks like every other quarter you've ever spent. But under magnification, the magic appears. Look at Washington's hairline. Some examples show unusual sharpness, as if etched with more care. The fields are satin smooth, yet faint radial flow lines swirl from the center, a telltale sign of the mint's high-pressure experiments that year. Flip it over. The eagle spreads its wings wider than usual, its talons clutching the arrows with almost photographic precision. The word America carries a slightly thicker base, a minute difference that numismatists can spot instantly. This is not coincidence. It's character born from the mint's relentless drive for perfection and the very flaws that perfection leaves behind. Now here's where ordinary turns mythical. Most 1986 quarters vanished into vending machines and toll booths, worn down in days. The mint struck over $500 million, but finding one today in fine, crisp, uncleaned condition is like finding a silver needle in a mountain of copper. Collectors who understand modern-era scarcity know exactly why the 1986 with D is on every watch list. Transitional die sets, doubled lettering, and near-proof surfaces push these coins into an elite category. Demand is fierce. Modern-era specialists and silver-era purists both chase it. Every time one crosses the auction floor, the buzz spreads across online forums and values jump again. When a truly exceptional 1986 with D surfaces, sharp details, perfect tone untouched by cleaning, something electric happens. Auctioneers pause. Collectors lean forward. The number on the screen climbs. Recent results have seen coins of this type sell for as much as about $90,000 in competitive bidding. Yes, a coin minted in the late 20th century, born from copper and nickel, now trading hands for a small fortune. Experts call it one of the greatest sleepers in the Washington series. Its value curve is rising, and each year fewer high-grade examples remain unclaimed. If you want to hunt for one yourself, start with knowledge. Search rolls of older quarters. Yes, even modern change can hide history. Look for that small D mint mark, perfectly centered under Washington's neck. Check for full details on the hair curls and sharp lines in the eagle's feathers. Natural tone is a blessing. Artificial shine is a warning. And if you think you have struck gold, do not guess. Have it professionally graded. A certified 1986 with D in fine or better condition can open doors to serious collectors' markets. Handle it with gloves, protect it from humidity, and never polish. The surface is your certificate of authenticity. The 1986 with D Washington quarter proves a powerful truth. Rarity isn't always ancient. Sometimes it's quietly modern. It's a symbol of how precision and accident can collide to create hidden wealth in the most unexpected places. This small, silver-gray piece of metal carries the heartbeat of a nation's craftsmanship and the thrill of discovery waiting in every coin jar across America. So keep searching, keep believing, because history never stops whispering its secrets. And here, on CoinX USA, we listen every single day uncovering fresh stories of forgotten fortune and timeless legacy. Coin number 9. Sometimes the most valuable treasures don't shine, they whisper. Tonight, we uncover one such whisper. The 1959 with D Washington quarter. A coin whose mysterious coloration and decades of wear turned an everyday artifact into a beacon of rarity. This isn't just a piece of pocket change. It's a survivor from an age of steel nerves, silver smiles, and craftsmanship that would soon vanish forever. The year was 1959. America was standing at the crossroads of optimism and innovation. Alaska had just become the 49th state. Television was turning black and white dreams into living color, and the Denver Mint was humming with relentless precision. Yet 1959 was also the last chapter of an era, the final years of high silver quarters before subtle shifts in alloy and production began reshaping U.S. coinage. The D mint mark beneath Washington's neck confirmed its Denver origin, a facility known for immaculate strike quality and vibrant metal flow lines that collectors still chase. What no one predicted was that over time, natural oxidation and environmental chemistry would create a breathtaking transformation on some examples. Tones of deep brown, violet, and black swirling across the surface like storm clouds trapped in silver. The 1959 with D Washington quarter is composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, giving it a brilliant white luster when new but under the right conditions. Silver's reaction with air and moisture crafts its own art. This brown and black layer toning is not damage, it's nature's signature. The coloration creates iridescent patterns that no mint could ever replicate, each coin an unrepeatable painting. On the obverse, Washington's jawline and hair retain surprising strength, even in circulation. On the reverse, the eagle stands proud, its feathers defined in shades of graphite and bronze. It's that dual character, wear and beauty, age and life, that drives collectors into bidding frenzies. Although millions of quarters were struck in 1959, the number that survived in any collectible condition is minuscule. Most were worn flat by decades of daily use: gas stations, jukeboxes, soda machines, tolls. But when one surfaces showing both detail and extraordinary natural toning, it becomes a phenomenon. Forums ignite, experts debate authenticity, and grading agencies confirm the rarity of the color patterns. Collectors call these shadow fire pieces, coins that absorb light instead of reflecting it, projecting an almost mystical energy. The blend of aesthetic rarity, strong historical context, and silver composition makes the 1959 D one of the most fascinating transitional era quarters on record. And when fortune meets rarity, the results are explosive. At recent numismatic auctions, exceptional examples of the 1959 with D Washington quarter with unique brown and black toning have realized prices up to around $163,500. That figure stands as both a revelation and a warning. True survivors from mid-century America are rapidly disappearing into private collections. Analysts and veteran dealers agree that values for naturally toned, well-preserved silver quarters are climbing year after year. This isn't speculation, it's the mathematics of scarcity meeting desire. Each confirmed example tightens the market, and the legend only grows stronger. Seek authenticity. Look for genuine, gradual toning, not chemical fakes. Real oxidation transitions smoothly between hues. Inspect edge reading and lettering for sharpness. Crisp detail equals higher grade. Never attempt to clean or brighten it. The dark tones are its soul and value. Store it in an inert, acid-free holder. Temperature shifts can alter natural patina. When possible, have the coin graded and encapsulated by a reputable third-party service. This transforms curiosity into certified investment. Remember, toning is artistry by time. To strip it away is to erase its history. The 1959 with D Washington quarter is not just a coin, it's a portrait of endurance. A quarter that survived commerce, weather, and the slow sculpting of oxygen itself, emerging decades later as a masterpiece of color and rarity. In its burnished surface lies America's heartbeat, strength, transformation, and hidden wealth for those wise enough to look closer. So the next time you see a dark-toned coin, don't dismiss it. Examine it. Listen to what it is saying. You might just be holding a silent fortune. And remember, here on CoinX USA, we reveal these living legends freshly, powerfully, and truthfully every single day. Coin number 10. What if I told you that even in the modern age, the era of vending machines, plastic cards, and digital wallets, a single pocket coin could hide a fortune, so powerful it makes collectors' hearts race? This isn't the 1800s. This isn't the silver rush. This is 1993. And yet, one specific Washington quarter from this very year, the 1993 P with mysterious brown dots, has become a modern miracle in the world of coin collecting. 1993, a time when America was looking forward. The Cold War had ended, technology was rising, and the United States. Mint in Philadelphia was in full swing, producing billions of coins. But within that mountain of shiny quarters, something extraordinary happened. Among the mass-produced, Everyday pieces meant for gas stations and grocery counters, a small number emerged that were different. Their metal blend reacted subtly with the air, leaving behind rich, warm brown dot patterns that almost looked like the coin itself was kissed by time. While the mint never officially acknowledged this striking variation, collectors began whispering about the spotted phantoms, quarters that carried marks of nature's art, not man's design. And just like that, the legend began. The 1993 with P. Washington quarter carries a modern copper-nickel composition, no silver, no gold, and yet it commands attention like a rare gemstone. Why? Because of those mysterious brown dots that form across the surface in unpredictable constellations. Some appear like tiny starbursts on Washington's cheek. Others shimmer faintly across the eagle's wings on the reverse. To a casual observer, it is just discoloration. To a trained collector, it's a fingerprint of authenticity, a naturally aged patina that proves the coin has journeyed through real American life while still retaining its structural beauty. Every spotted quarter tells a unique story. No two patterns are identical, and that's what makes them captivating. Even though the Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion quarters in 1993, the number of circulated examples showing natural toning and preserved details is minuscule. Most have been scrubbed, spent, or lost forever. But when a piece surfaces with its tone intact, the brown freckles vivid, the details crisp, collectors recognize it instantly as a modern treasure. Coin shows, online auctions, and private dealer meetings have all recorded bidding wars over these enigmatic pieces. The fascination lies in its contradiction. A 1990s coin that shouldn't be rare, yet somehow is. It's proof that even in a world of machines and mass production, true rarity finds a way to exist. And here's where the story turns electric. At several recent numismatic auctions, pristine circulated examples of the 1993 P. Washington quarter with brown dot toning have sold for as much as $62,500. Yes, you heard that right. A coin minted just over 3 decades ago, a quarter many people might dismiss as pocket change, has reached price levels that seasoned investors describe as modern-era shockwaves. Experts agree the demand for modern, naturally toned quarters is rising fast. Each year, collectors chase the few surviving specimens, and as those vanish into private vaults, values are expected to surge further. This isn't hype, it's history unfolding in real time. If you ever find a 1993 with P quarter showing brown spotting or toning, do not clean it. Those tones are your ticket to value. They are not flaws, they are proof of originality. Look closely at the fields. Sharp detail and even color patterns often signal authenticity. Store it carefully in an airtight holder. Oxygen is both the artist and the enemy. Have it evaluated by a trusted grading service to confirm condition and market potential. Collectors who ignored modern coins a decade ago are now turning back, and it's the toned pieces, the mysterious survivors, that lead the charge. The 1993 with P. Washington quarter with brown dots reminds us that treasures don't always come from ancient chests or century-old vaults. Sometimes they are sitting in plain sight, disguised as the ordinary, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and a passionate heart to notice. Each dot on its surface is a mark of time, a memory of where it's been, and a symbol of how something so common can become unbelievably rare. So next time you check your change, look closer, because somewhere out there, another 1993 P quarter might be waiting, and it could change your life. This is CoinX USA, where every coin tells a story, every story holds a secret, and every secret could lead to hidden wealth. Stay tuned, because we uncover new coin legends every single day.